Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. Here we are, we're out on location at a Hampsons auction which is coming up this Sunday, very soon, at the Oulton Park Gold Cup, which is a wonderful, wonderful motor racing event going back decades here, where all the most wonderful racing drivers in the world almost have competed. But anyway, we're in the Hampsons marquee and I'm drawn to this car immediately. This is a Lotus Elise Series 1. It's got 2,200 miles on the odometer. How do you even begin to value a car like this? It's all original, it's beautifully presented. I'm slightly biased, more than, because this weekend just gone I was judging at a concours called Yorkshire Elegance, which had some beautiful cars, and one of my co-judges was my friend Iain, who actually designed this car. He then went on to design the Range Rover Evoque, amongst other things. So this is Iain's handiwork. It still looks gorgeous. One has to be extremely super athletic to get in and out of them when the roof's in place, but provided you fit into all those criteria, fit, nimble, slim, just like me, then you can bag yourself a bargain. How much is this going to go for? I have absolutely no idea. I don't think anybody on planet Earth has got any idea. It could be anywhere. A 2,200 mile old Lotus Elise. What do you do with it? Do you put it in your lounge? Do you put it in your garage? Do you put a roll cage in it and race it? Delete as appropriate. But anyway, Series 1 Lotus Elise, great condition. Yeah, very interesting car. Well, another car that's caught my attention is this, a BMW E28. I've always had a soft spot for 1970s and 80s BMWs, just because I worked on so many of them, I guess. The E28 sit-up and beg shape was just I used to service a 528i for a customer, an M535i, and then I've just spotted this. It's a Hartger E28, so it started life as a 528i, but Hartger gave it the treatment, a tuning house like Alpina, or the equivalent for Mercedes was Brabus, I guess, at the time. They took the plant out and put a 3.5 litre engine in it, which is allegedly 268 brake horsepower. And I think from memory, the M5 was 286, so it's up to M5 performance, essentially. It's very clean, this car. Of course, wide wheels, side skirts, deep front spoiler, all these things were de rigueur for BMW tuners in the 80s. A lot of money. I dread to think how much money was lavished on this car in those early years. Is this fun? Yes, because it's a genuinely quick car, even by today's standards. Very satisfying to drive. It presents very well. The engine, you could spend a weekend tidying the engine compartment up a bit, but just a really interesting snapshot of 1980s optimism, boldness, creativity, whatever you want to describe it as. A Hartger BMW 5 Series. Well, I am a bit of a sucker for the odd bit of Americana. A lot of American cars I don't like, but this one I do. I love the killer styling on this car. This is a 1971 Mustang Mac 1. By this time the emissions regulations had really begun to strangle America's high-performance cars. But of course, however many years it is on, things have changed, 5.5 decades, I guess. You can tune these engines back up again. You can retrofit more powerful kit to them to actually bring back some of the lost horsepower, and that makes them very interesting. This car has got a manual gearbox as well. It's had lots of forged pistons, different cam, 700 CFM Holley carburettor, 700 cubic feet per minute. That's big. What first drew me to this car was the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever. One of these features, a red one, features heavily in the film, driven by I can't remember her name now, the actress, Jill St. John, I think, and Sean Connery. I think the shape is just knockout on this car. I've always liked the styling. I would have it just for the looks, and hopefully, I haven't driven it, but hopefully the drive as well. Just an eyeful. Absolutely love it. Purely personal indulgence. 1971 Mustang Mac 1, and it is estimated at £30,000 to £35,000. Strong money for a Mustang, actually. An earlier car would be less than that, I suspect, depending for a sort of bog standard one. Nevertheless, try and find another. There's not that many of them around. Another cheeky little number I've stumbled across here is this, a Pontiac Firebird 6.6, or Formula 400 I think they were called, which is 400 cubic inch or 6.6 litres in Euro speak. They gradually degraded the power during the late 60s and early 70s to meet ever more stringent emissions laws, because they were very, very dirty, they weren't interested in exhaust emissions in the 1960s, American manufacturers, and quite right. Sorry, I didn't say that. But what happened in the 70s was they started to get really emasculated. They were shadows of the four themselves. But with this, as I was mentioning with the other Mustang, with the onset of time, they aren't subject to smog tests like they used to be. So you can actually restore some of the lost power by fitting hotter cams, different pistons. What the manufacturers were doing earlier on at the time to get horsepower, but also taking advantage of modern technology as well. And this car has had a lot of breathing done on the engine. It's an automatic. It's got the shaker air intake, which is separate from the bonnet, actually separate from the hood, going straight into the carburettor. This is a 1979 T-roof. It reminds me of the Rockford Files in the 70s with James Garner or his stunt double doing the famous J-turn, skidding in the road and then going off in the other direction. I used to have these in regularly in the 1980s for work, and some of them were very, very, very hot engines, up to 600 brake horsepower, which was crazy numbers in the 1980s. And I remember one of them was nitrous oxide injected as well. I had to set that up. It actually started to go sideways on me when I was accelerating in a straight line. It was powerful, shall we say. So this takes me straight back to that era. I actually really like the way this car is presented. I love the bronzy, goldy colour scheme, the screaming eagle on the bonnet. Yeah, this is another piece of Americana I'm really, really fond of, because it brings back so many memories. Just a crazy car in a lot of ways. The Pontiac Firebird, 6.6 litre, 1979, with engine mods. And it's estimated at 18 to 24,000 hammer price. A lot of car for the money. A lot of real estate for the money. Well, this is another car that's grabbed my attention. I'm always drawn to 205 GTIs. They were, in period, they were the reference hot hatch. They knocked the Golf GTI off its pedestal as the best handling hot hatch. These are a delight to drive, and this car is, I would say, something of a sweet spot. This is a very, very late 205 GTI. It's got the factory power steering. I always thought that they were very heavy, the 205 GTIs without the factory power steering. The first time we had one in for work in the 1990s with the power steering, I thought this works with this car so well. In fact, I would go as far as to say I probably wouldn't consider, if I was going to have one in my stable, one without PAS. It made such a difference to the car. It didn't take away any of the feel, but it did make it a lot more malleable at low speeds and in turning situations. But this car is immaculate. It's come from Japan. It's an original right-hand drive car, as all Japanese cars are largely. It's finished in this special green metallic. It's got air conditioning, which was never, I believe, never an option on the cars in the UK. And it did have an automatic gearbox, unusually, when it started life, but it's been professionally converted to a uprated manual gearbox. If you want a 205 GTI, it's got the factory sliding roof, which is a wonderful feature. This is very, very nice. It's guided at 15 to 18,000, which I don't believe is out of the way. Cars that were sold in Japan are generally very, very well looked after. The Japanese are fastidious about their maintenance, so I think this is a good bet. 15 to 18,000 pounds hammer, yeah, a lot of car for that. Well, apparently Porsche 924 turbos are like policemen or buses. There's none around and then two come along at once. The 924 is an interesting Porsche. It was a joint venture. It started off as a Volkswagen, same as the Porsche 914, and developed into a VW Porsche, and then Porsche took the project on wholeheartedly and it became the 924. Always a pretty car. Right from the outset, the 924, the balance was just right. It had the Ferrari 275 style front engine, torque tube, gearbox at the back, whether it was manual or automatic, to help with the weight distribution and the traction. This went on to be a winning formula in the 928, of course. It started life with a particularly growly four-cylinder adapted Audi van engine, which it's never been allowed to forget really, and I suppose I'm just pouring more petrol on the fire. But what really happened with the 924 when it came of age was with these. All of a sudden Porsche decided to throw some resources at this and some credibility, and they altered the engine quite drastically. They added a KKK turbocharger, and the 924 became, the turbo became a credible car. The Porsche code is 931, the factory code, as well as the 930 turbo, so you can't get much more rubber stamping than that this followed the 911 turbo in factory code numbering. 177 brake horsepower. I've done, again, this is a car model I've done lots of work on over the years. They quite often came with a two-tone colour scheme. These are the standard alloy wheels, the ATS alloys, which look delicious. I love cross-spoke wheels. And they normally had a light colour over a dark, like Mercedes 107s in the 1980s. They two-toned them from the crease line halfway down the body down, just to give them an extra level of sophistication, which I guess they did. Even though it was the basic engine, in very typical German efficiency and determination, they made that engine work in this car very well. It wasn't the most refined four-cylinder engine in the world, but still a 2-litre. Porsche sorted that soon afterwards with the 944 in 1982, when they used a 2.5-litre four-cylinder with two balancer shafts, Mitsubishi and Lanchester style. That engine was very smooth, actually, for a big 4-litre engine, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This was the stopgap and is now becoming a car in its own right. You had the 924 Carrera GT and the GTS, all based on this car. You got, pick your colour, white or gold metallic. I happen to like this, but that's just personal choice. Yeah, great car, very underrated. The Porsche 931 Turbo. The Porsche 924 Turbo. We've got two of them here. This one is no reserve. I'm not quite sure what the estimate is on this one, but I mean, I guess this is up for grabs from the first bid. Amazing, really. So we'll see where this goes. I'll be keeping an eye on this one. Porsche 924 Turbo. Well, every Hampsons auction, what I love about them is the variety of cars they have. And I don't think there are too many Lamborghini Urus Performantes that have come up at auction at all, ever, yet. But here is this one. The Urus was a wildly successful car for Lamborghini. I spoke to the gentleman who owns Lamborghini a little while back, and he said that they were doing very well for him. This is the Performante version, which is more focused. It's the same V8 engine that's used in a lot of VW Audi products. The Bentley Bentayga, the Bentley Continental GT, the Audi SQ RS8 or something, I don't know. A highfalutin Audi anyway, but here it is in Lamborghini trim with just under 670 brake horsepower, which equates to a Tesla worrying 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.3 seconds and 190 miles an hour from your 4x4, thank you very much. Performante is, as its name suggests, more track focused. It's a more hardcore experience than the Urus. The Urus suspension could never be described as soft. I've driven them in Italy and here since they came out in 2017, and they do have a reasonably smooth ride. Audi have upped the game with this, or Lamborghini, sorry, I didn't really say that. 20mm lower suspension, which is simply adjusting the linkage on the height control arms. But there's lots of other goodies on this as well. This is actually an extremely capable car. It really is. This one has done 10,000 miles. It's estimated at 200 to 250,000 pounds. I don't think you can still walk into a Lamborghini showroom and just buy a Performante. I think there is a waiting list for them. And this has got just about everything, including or excluding the kitchen sink thrown at it in terms of options and choices. It's got this carbon pack, which is thousands of pounds extra. It's got the de Rigor metallic paint, matte paint, which comes with every 21st century high performance or ultra performance car. The interior is the 4-seater configuration instead of the 5. These are all expensive options. These incredibly huge brake calipers and brakes. Yeah, the whole thing is pretty out there, really. What a thing! And Lamborghini Urus Performante, the more focused. If an Urus is too mainstream for you, this is the answer. No Tyrrell Classic Workshop video would be complete without a bit of nerdiness. And the back tyres on this Urus Performante are 325mm wide. They're still smaller than the Countach supercar was in the 1980s. 40 years ago, the Countach had 345 rear tyres on it, the largest of any production car in the world. And yet here we are, 40 years later, and the back, obviously this is 4-wheel drive, so it's a wholly different way of planting the power down. But interesting that these are still 20mm narrower than Lamborghini's Countach was 40 years ago. Well, what greater venue to have an auction at than the iconic Oulton Park Gold Cup. And as you can hear, there's a few cars on the track even as we speak. But Zach, as ever, congratulations for having such an eclectic mix of cars and some that actually tug on the old heartstrings.
Thank you again, Iain, for another fantastic review of what is my favourite catalogue this year. Of 120 entries, over half offered at no reserve here at the historic Oulton Park race circuit. If you'd love to attend, of course you can attend this weekend. Tomorrow, viewing starts at 9 AM. The auction starts then on Sunday at 12 noon. If you can't attend, please feel free to browse our lots on our website, hampsonauctions.com. And if you can't attend, you can also contact us by telephone on 01606 828 124. That's 01606 828 124, and we'll be happy to help you with any information that you need about the lots. Thank you so much, Iain, for coming along.
All the best. That concludes another Tyrrell Classic Workshop video. Please remember to subscribe, and we'll be back with something else very soon.